Hello friends, welcome to Insights Again initiative. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the debate between the national language and official language. So first we will discuss in which context this debate has been raised, and we will discuss about the rest of the issues in detail. By the way, I would like to inform to you, in yesterday's video, I included the notes in the video description. Please find that PDF file. In today's video also, in the description, I'll include the notes PDF file. In case if I miss for any video, I'll include in the after 1 or 2 days. Okay, so please don't forget to check in the description of the video. Now let us see first the syllabus mapping. As usually, this topic is related to Gender Studies paper 2 in Mains point of view, whereas in Prelims point of view, obviously it is related to Indian polity straight away. Let's see what contents we are going to discuss. First, why it is in news. Obviously, the debate between the official and national language, why it is in news. Then we will discuss about some of the constitutional provisions related to these languages, and what are the cases before the Supreme Court, and what is the status of Hindi as a language in the Indian Constitution. In this context, it is obviously we have to check the 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution, where 22 languages were there. Of course, English is not there, and we will discuss about the status of English. Apart from that, we will also discuss about the language which we will use in the judiciary. That means obviously in the Supreme Court and High Courts, as well as the languages used in the lower courts, such as subordinate courts, who will decide which language has to be spoken in the subordinate courts. That we will discuss. And along these provisions, we will also discuss about Official Languages Act. Okay. Meanwhile, if you are able to recollect in which year we made the Official Language Act, please put your answer in the comments. Okay. Anyhow, I will explain in this video. If you know, just put in the comments. Now, recently, Supreme Court of India, while examining one case related to, actually it was a dispute between the two people, who one is belonged to the UP, the other one belonged to the West Bengal. The person from the West Bengal, he was asking that the case must be transferred to the West Bengal, because all the witnesses, whoever in that case, they can speak only in Bengali language. In that context, Supreme Court declined to transfer the case from UP to Bengal, and Supreme Court also commented that Hindi is the national language, and the Bengali witnesses, they should convey their views in the Hindi with the help of any translator or somewhat. In this context, Supreme Court observed that also there are 22 official languages in India. Hindi is the national language. Okay. Of course, this was only Supreme Court observations. Nowhere in the Indian Constitution the word national language was not mentioned. Okay. Now let's see. 22 official language, and Supreme Court observed that Hindi is considered as a national language. But so many other people are arguing that all the 22 languages which are mentioned in this 8th schedule, they should be considered as national languages. Regarding that, even the private member bill was also introduced in the past. We will see when that was introduced. Now let's see language. You know, students, at one point of time, when Aristotle was describing about human being, you know, like you will learn this in the PSIR, human being compared to animals, human being possesses two unique skills. One is the communication. Human being can communicate one to another person, and the second one is human being is able to think, reason, he can apply. These are the two essential features which separate human being from other animals. So you can understand the importance of the communication system, which is nothing but language. Language, of course, includes grammar as well as the vocabulary, and language, it can be in the spoken and it can be in the both spoken as well as the written languages. You know that for so many tribes in India, their language is in spoken form, but they don't have language in the written form. That also you will see. Even some of the languages in the scheduled languages also, they don't find any this written form of the language. The constitutional provisions, they are mentioned in part 17 from article 343 to 351. These are the various articles which gives details about the language. Next, Constituent Assembly. So let us see what were the observations about language in the Constituent Assembly. Let us see. Hindi was declared initially as the official language of the Union government, but later, because of some objections, Constituent Assembly decided that, of course, along with Hindi, English will be continued for 15 years from the commencement of Constitution. That means in 1950, the Constitution was commenced and English supposed to be continued till 1965. After that, only Hindi would be the language. But of course, due to the anti-Hindi movement in Tamil Nadu, because of that, Parliament made the Official Language Act in 1963, and Official Language Act 1963, it facilitated that both Hindi and English will be continued as a language between the center and state. And states can follow whichever the language they like by making a law. Otherwise, English will continue as a language. Let's see. Article 343. It is saying that Hindi in the Devanagari script, it will be the official language for the union government. And this was only for 15 years. But later we amended, and now we are continuing that both Hindi as well as English will continue as official language of the union. 345. States can fix, they can choose the language for their official purpose. Otherwise, English will be the language for their official purpose. Article 348. All the proceedings in the Supreme Court and High Court, those proceedings will be in English language only. And of course, in High Courts, local language can be allowed by governor with the previous consent of the president. In spite of that, whatever the judgments given by the High Court, the judgment must be in English only. Judgments cannot be in the local language. But the proceedings can be in local language. Who has to give the permission? Governor has to give the permission by taking the consent from the president. Article 351 is saying that it is directing that union government must take all the necessary steps for the promotion of Hindi as a communication link without affecting the regional languages. You know, students, in India, language played very, very important role. Especially, we might have seen that, like in 1948, SK Dar Committee, in the same 1948, JVP Committee, and this continuation to this 1953, even the Fazal Ali Committee. All these three committees are related to linguistic based states formation. It submitted the report in 1955. Fazal Ali Committee submitted report in 1955, and based on this, in 1956, first SRC, State Reorganization Act was made. This SR, according to this, entire India divided into 14 states and 6 UTs. Okay. So from this you can understand the importance of language in the formation of states. Now tell me, students, who were the members in the JVP committee? What were the names of the members? Tell me. Now, Article 351 is saying that center must put its efforts for the development of Hindi. And later, as I mentioned earlier, because of the anti-Hindi movement, the Official Language Act was made in 1963. According to this Official Language Act, union government, for the transaction of the business between the center and state, along with the Hindi, English also will be used indefinitely without any limitation periods. What about the cases before the Supreme Court? So the present judgment already I explained. It is regarding the motor accident case. This incident was happened in Siliguri, West Bengal, and whoever claiming the insurance in this act, he filed a case in UP, and the person from West Bengal, he was claiming that please shift the case from UP to Bengal so that he can introduce the witness, but court declined. You don't need to go into this detail. The only observation you have to know that court observed that Hindi is Hindi is national language. So those witnesses in Bengal, they can convey their whatever they want to say in Hindi, or else with the help of translators. What about the 8th schedule? 8th schedule is clearly mentioning 22 schedules as 22 languages as the scheduled languages. And these are the languages which are recognized by the constitution. Originally only 14 languages were there. Later we keep on adding the languages. Of course, still there are a lot of demands to include further languages. Of course, there is a demand for about 38 languages to be included, such as Bhojpuri, Garhwali, Rajasthani. And interestingly, English is not included in the 8th schedule. Okay? English is not included in the 8th schedule. Next, what is the languages of the judiciary? Let's see. Article 348, Clause 1, it is saying that all the proceedings in the High Court and Supreme Court, there shall be in English. But in High Court, apart from English, you can use the regional language based on the permission given by the governor on the previous consent of the president. Of course, some states are following this kind of model and they are including their state language as well in the high courts. Otherwise, only English is allowed. But even though you are allowing the regional language in the high court, the judgments will be made in English. Like I said earlier, they must be in English. Next, what about the subordinate courts? Subordinate courts means district civil court as well as the sessions court. Regarding those, we have to remember here about Code of Civil Procedure as well as the Code of Criminal Procedure, CRPC and CPC. Code of Civil Procedure, it is saying that unless otherwise mentioned, the state government can direct the language which is used in the subordinate courts. So state government will decide which languages are permitted in the subordinate courts. Even the CRPC, already I told you, offences are two types: civil offences, criminal offences. Civil offences are dealing by CPC and criminal offences are dealing by CRPC. We discussed this, especially recently we discussed about defamation. In defamation video, I explained defamation is two types: civil defamation, criminal defamation. Criminal defamation deal by IPC section 499 and section 500. Let's see here, CRPC 1973. It is also saying that state government can determine which language can be used in the subordinate judiciary. Okay. Now tell me students, administration of the subordinate judiciary, it comes under which list of the schedule 7? Tell me students, administration of subordinate judiciary, it comes under which schedule in the Indian Constitution? Next, committees of parliament official language. In parliament we have different committees like departmental standing committee and ad hoc committees and finance committees such as parliamentary committee on PAC, parliamentary committee on estimates and parliamentary committee on PSU, public sector undertaking. Like that, in parliament we included one more special committee, that is parliamentary committee on official language. It was established in 1976 based on the official language of 1963. This parliamentary committee on official language, the strength of the committee is 30 members. It draws 20 members from Lok Sabha and 10 members from Rajya Sabha. It is headed by Home Minister, very important, and it will check what kind of progress has been made regarding the implementation of Hindi as official purpose. It also recommends the usage of Hindi as official language. Tell me students, what is your opinion regarding Hindi as a national language rather than official language? Should we use Hindi as a national language or not? What is your thoughts? Next, debate over the official languages in India. Like I said earlier, Constituent Assembly favored Hindi as a national language originally after 15 years, but later English also continued. And then in 1955, we appointed CARE committee. This was the first language commission. They suggested that official language act must be made based on that. 1963, official language act was made. Based on that act, English is continued. Apart from that, there is a private member bill. Like I said earlier, all the 22 languages in the 8th schedule, they must be announced as a national languages by amending the Article 343. Recently, 9th Official Language Committee, it given the report in 2011 that the increasing use of Hindi in computers also must be suggested. Okay, must be implemented. So this is also one way of encouraging Hindi language as a communication link between the state. This is the report of the 9th Official Language Committee report. Argument in favor of Hindi as official language. So people who are arguing that, they are arguing on the basis of Hindi will act as a link language and Hindi also promotes the freedom ideals. That is their version. Let's see the ideas which are opposing Hindi as a national language. This is related to limited speakers. That means majority of the South India, their native language is not Hindi. Then English will be the global language. It is the time to move towards the global language rather than restricting ourselves to Hindi. It is against the federalism because some states are they are promoting different language. You can't impose centers idea on the states. Then affecting the learning abilities because some of the people, Hindi is not at all native language. It threatens the unity and diversity. It affects the national integrity, obviously. And there is lack of proper curriculum in the school to inculcate Hindi in the schooling. And finally, it also divides people emotionally. Okay, like north-south divides. This kind of emotional division will occur. These are some of the points arguing against Hindi as a official language. What is the way forward? The way forward is Hindi should be accepted as the official language, alternative to English only with the consent of the states. Apart from that, all the regional languages in the 8th schedule, they should be encouraged, and the North Indian states also must be implemented. This 3 language formula must be implemented in the North Indian states. In majority of the South Indian states, Hindi, English and regional language, the 3 language formula is being implemented, but it is not seen in North India. That has to be implemented so that we can gain the confidence of the like rest of the states also. So this is the way forward. Yesterday's video questions. Consider the following statement regarding the Samudrayan project. Regarding the Samudrayan project, India is first manned mission to explore the deep ocean. It is going to be the India's first, right? The Union Ministry of Science and Technology is not the science and technology, earth sciences. So option A only. Next, consider the following statement regarding the Himalayan vulture. It is found in the Himalayas and Tibetan Plateau, right? It recognized as endangered, not endangered, nearly threatened. So only one statement is right. Kuril Islands, which was recently seen in news, is located between which sea? Obviously between the Okhotsk as well as Pacific Ocean. D. These are some of the yesterday's video questions. Now let's see today's video question. Today's video question. Which is the first classic language of India? Tell me, students. Means, how far do you think cooperation, competition and confrontation have shaped the nature of federation in India? How the Indian federation changed? Cite some recent example to validate your answer. Okay, quote some of the recent example. This is today's main question. Now anyhow, as we reach to the end of this video, let us recap very quickly. In this video, we discussed about debate going between the official language and national language, and what is the controversy, recent controversy in the Supreme Court, and how Hindi originally they thought of implementing as a official language up to 15 years along with English, but due to the recommendation of the Official Language Committee or Official Language Act, this along with Hindi, English also being continued. Then we discussed about the Schedule 8 and argument supporting, argument opposing Hindi as a national language, and we also discussed about some of the arguments put forward by the other states, okay, regarding the encouragement of local language. This is the detailed analysis regarding the debate between the official language and national language.